Check, is this thing on? Yes. Awesome, cool. Hi. So I'm Xander Lyons. I'm the CEO of Team Cleat, and our goal is to make the high school multi-sport athletes feel good both on and off the field. So as shown in these two photos here, here's me playing my two sports. As you can see in the football photo, I'm number 55 down there in the front, and in the baseball photo, I'm the one swinging, of course. And so some problems that I run into while I'm playing my two sports are the idea that it's super uncomfortable and it's just a pain to have to play. One main issue that comes into play is the pain that shoots up not only from your feet but all the way up into your lower body. And an issue that I always find is that it usually derives from my cleats. The cleats that are shown here are usually really flat, and it becomes an issue that's not super fixable right away. You can't do anything about it because it's only the big companies that make the cleats, and it's what they sell that you have to buy. And another issue that comes into play is the amount of pain that comes after the games. Not only is it pain that comes immediately after, but it's also long-term also. That pain comes not only when you're walking off the field onto the bus or off the bus going down into the locker room, but it also affects you when you're laying in bed. It's just aches in your joints and it's everywhere. You see, that problem doesn't only happen to me. I'm not alone in this. In the Portland metro area alone, there are over 11,500 multi-sport athletes. And when we turn those numbers national, that number jumps all the way to 7.8 million multi-sport athletes. And over 50 to 55% of those athletes both play football and baseball as I do.
So in a study from 2013, they said that in football alone, there were over 300,000 injuries annually. Those injuries are predominantly caused by cleats and the alignment of your body as you were working out and playing in games. So it all starts with your feet. So the way that your cleat is aligned, like Xander said, they're very flat. And the way that they hold your feet, they don't support them at all. And a lot of companies have tried to fix this issue by making cleats that have softer bottoms or harder bottoms. And none of them have been very successful so far. So what we did is we looked at different types of cleats. First of all, we looked at a baseball cleat. And they have very flat bottoms made of hard and inflexible flat plastic. They don't bend at all. They keep your foot flat inside of them so that you can't really move your feet. Your arch isn't supported, so when you run, all of your weight is put on your heels. In the before picture, you can see that the foot is kept flat, so that when you are running, like I said, all your weight is going onto your heels, and the shock from that hit is going directly up your legs and into your knees and causing long-term pain, especially lower back pain. Studies have shown that athletes who are especially multiplayer athletes, when they're older, have a lot of lower back pain and a lot of unexplained nerve pain that doctors are now connecting to sport play when they're younger. In the after picture, the arch of the foot is supported by an orthotic. That orthotic balances the weight of your foot so that when you take a step, you're putting all of your weight onto the heel and ball of your foot. That way you are not just putting it directly onto a flat surface.
So as shown in this picture is a prototype that we came up with originally when we had our initial idea of a cleat that was able to be retracted back into the cleat itself for when you're not playing. As shown in this little tiny prototype here, which our prototyper and engineer Abraham Esquivel helped create with the help of a trusty 3D printer and some help from Shashi and another mentor whose name, but yeah, that was our initial idea, was to create the vanishing cleat to make it so that I was both comfortable off and on the field. But a problem that we ran into when we were going into this was that this wasn't the biggest problem that multi-sport athletes were coming into play with. We spoke with a mentor named Dwayne Edwards, who's a world-renowned and world-class shoe designer for Nike. One of the main issues that he said was, this isn't solving a real problem. This is solving a problem for the lazy athlete, one that's too lazy to take off his shoes. So what we did is we realized that that was not the correct direction that we were going for. So what we did to fix this issue was we continued to do customer validation. We looked at where our real problems were. This was not a real issue. This was just an issue that would create more problems in the future. So we moved past this. And we focused on the main issue of uncomfortable cleats and cleats that promote injuries.
So, what we want to do is create a midsole for your cleats that will support the arch of your foot, and in turn stop you from putting all of your weight on your heel and causing more medical issues for you as you grow up. In turn, this will make it safer for athletes. They'll be able to play more games when they're younger or continue as they get older. It will also make them a lot more comfortable before games, after games, and as they grow older so that they don't have that back pain that a lot of older people have now.
So as shown in this photo, this is a technology that was brought to major shoe companies that was a way to promote a more safe and more comfortable walking experience in your shoes. This is a Boost technology that was brought to Nike originally by a independent company to promote, of course, more comfortable walk in your shoe. So Nike declined this original offer. So the company Boost went to Adidas originally to market this and promote it to them. Adidas said yes to this design and they jumped on board. This is where we come in. We plan to be the Boost of cleats. We look to reach out to companies like Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour, as Abby had already listed. And we look to go to those companies and license our product with them so that we can be an almost piggyback to their products that their customers already know and love. We look to be that shoe that all the teenagers and all the sports players, whether they're in high school or not, they see that and they say, oh, I like that Nike Huarache. But then on the price tag, they see with Cleat technology now on the side. We look to be that. And this is where we plan to be. As of right now, on June 25th, we're presenting to you guys at the TYE Global Competition course. And then the next month, we plan to meet with orthopedic and shoe designer experts so that we're able to build out the functionality and see how we can build out this idea. And in October, we plan to test out our first prototypes with multi-sport high school athletes so that we can test out the functionality. And in November, we plan to file for a patent on our technology to be able to build out the most comfortable shoe. And in January of next year, we plan to reach out to all the big shoe companies to be able to promote our product and license our product with them to be that tag-along brand that we would like to be. And these were some mentors that we were able to reach out with. This is Dwayne Edwards, the one that I spoke on earlier. He is the founder of Pencil Academy as well as a former executive and designer at Nike. And he was very helpful when it came to getting very good feedback on what our real problem was and who we were selling to. And it also helped us build the framework of how licensing worked, which was very helpful. We also worked with Ian Williams, who's an entrepreneur and a former designer at Nike as well. He opened up a coffee shop in downtown Portland called Deadstock, and we were able to have a lot of our business meetings and start a lot of the important conversations that we needed to have about our comfortability there. We also worked closely with Dave Underhill, who was very helpful in the crunch time and was able to make sure that our presentation made sense and that we were able to get everything that's going on in our crazy minds out to you folks so that it was clear. And this is our team. I'm Xander Lyons, the CEO of this company. That was Abby Kendall, our team manager. Over here we have Abraham Esquivel, our engineer. We have Hallie Canson, our researcher, and Ansel Hall, who is our concept artist who cannot be here at the moment. And yeah, we are Team Cleat. Feel good both on and off the field. Now we'll be ready to accept questions.
How is your product different from other foot inserts, since I've seen other foot inserts on the market?
So a lot of Cleat, or a lot of foot support things like Dr. Scholl's and products like that, they're built to be in your normal everyday shoes. The problem with cleats having support is that cleats need to be close to the ground to keep your speed up. So that's why they're so flat, is that it's meant to give you more traction and more friction as you're running on turf or concrete, whatever you're running on. And so putting an insert like Dr. Scholl's in there would only decrease your speed because they're not meant to be put in cleats.
So your inserts are thinner, so they don't decrease the speed as much? Is that the?
That is the idea. We were looking into the use of EVA-based foam, which is actually, in the version that we're looking into, it's meant to be thinner, but in theory, it is the same type of foam that you would see on like a child's play mat. If you've ever gone into like a McDonald's playground or something like that, that's what you're walking on. And they do make it in finer forms so that it's more porous and you can step on it, so you can have a formed arch, which is actually what you can see on some of those insoles.
Going back to that whole concept of what we're building, it's not necessarily going to be an insert as a license and a patent on the idea of the comfortable cleat. So we plan to license out the technology to build a more comfortable base, such as the one here, because most cleats do not have a midsole. So what we're mainly planning on doing is creating the cleat with an insole without decreasing the functionality of the cleat itself.
Is there help me understand the reason why you're waiting until November to file for IP patent?
So because we actually changed our concept, as Xander was saying, the prototype that we have is actually from our original concept, which was to have retractable cleats. So we want to do more testing before we can actually move forward and say like, we have this thing that we want you to license. We want to take some testing, maybe talk to some people at our school and see if they would be willing to do some test runs, maybe run, I don't know, suicides, something.
While we were doing a little bit more customer validation and customer outreach, we found that while we were talking to multi-sport athletes at Benson and when we were talking to coaches at Benson, we found that the two coaches that we were able to reach out to actually weren't allowed, or we weren't able to get a letter of intent before the school year ended, sadly. So we were able to reach out with them, and they said that when we gave them this idea and our pitch of our product, they said that they would be more than happy to buy our product for their team and their children themselves too. They said that they would be more than happy to be able to increase the comfortability and the functionality of the cleat itself.
How did you guys work together as a team? Did you guys know each other before you started working together?
So the way that it started actually is kind of funny. So Paige Buckner was the one that reached out originally they reached out to our tech class teachers. We were in a class called Tech Enterprises where we're in a print shop essentially, where we're printing out all the products that our school makes. Like we didn't make this hat, but we make a lot of products similar to this. Like we make a lot of cool shirts that have or stuff like that. And we were able to have the opportunity that Paige brought to us with the rough idea of entrepreneurship, and that was brought to us one day in class, and a lot of us took a really big grasp on it. And the way that it worked, we had an idea lab that we hosted at our school, and so if you had a bug list that you came up with, you picked the 3 top things that bugged you the most, and so we came up with those, and then we made an idea that we thought, and it was originally my idea that it came up with this, where cleats are super uncomfortable. They hurt my feet, they hurt my knees, and it's something that I chose to stick with, and I found a very loyal team that was super passionate about something that I was just as passionate about. And it was also something that was super helpful when we did our customer outreach to find that there were a lot more people that had the same problem that I do. It was really almost welcoming to know that I'm not the only one.
Will you continue to have access to Dwayne and his expertise?
Yeah, something that I've been able to reach out with. I recently met with Dwayne for the first time, actually, like a couple weeks ago, or last week, sorry. And so I went over to Pencil, and we had a really nice meeting where we were going back and forth on that. And the sad thing is that Dwayne's rarely ever in town because he's world-renowned. So yeah, hopefully we're planning to continue to be able to reach out with him. And we were able to start that connection, start the conversation, to be able to further that, hopefully. And so we plan on meeting with him further in the future and perhaps building a board of advisors to be able to continue our design concept.
So I was the engineer. You were the engineer in this team? Is that right?
Yes, it was.
What was that like for you?
At first, I didn't really know what to do since it was the first time we had such a program at our school. But then I found out all we needed to do was just pretty much come up with the design and put it together. And I got to work with an awesome mentor named Mike Coulter and Shashi as well. And they helped me put together that prototype with 3D printers.
And your other teammate. Can you tell us about how this experience was for you? And what you did?
Well, I did research. Well, most of my research wasn't really useful at the beginning because our whole concept changed. I did most of the work for this new, like, now. So, like,
All part of the process.
yeah.
You research stuff, then you research new stuff. That's great.
How hard was it for you to buy in to you need to make a pivot? A pivot, that's what you've done, you've changed the concept.
It was really rough to like get the sort of tough love from Dwayne originally, just breaking it all to us super strongly, like right off the bat. And so it was also what we needed because I would much rather be going down the right path and learn it in a tough way than continue down the wrong path for a while, which it seemed like we would have been going if we didn't get good feedback, because we were doing the wrong research and we were looking at the wrong types of areas originally. So we weren't necessarily going down the right path to start with, and so it was difficult at first, but it ended up being life-saving. I think being able to make that pivot because you realize what you were doing once you see what other people see rather than just yourself and your team.